Hello, and welcome to another perfect pitch. Yes, it was only a few days ago we put one up. We're doing well, aren't we, Allie?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, and of course, there's Zahra with us as well. How you doing, Zahra?
I'm not too bad. I just wanted to start by saying I know I'm always here for the Arsenal ones. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I promise.
You
I'm not a
sure?
secret
Gooner in
fan.
disguise, Gooner in disguise. You're a Gooner in disguise.
Yeah, I'm pointing. That's terrible. Look, see, it's just habit. Right, let's get in because we've got a lot to talk about today. So let's get in to the Wolves match. Ali, you were the only one that was there, even though we did get to see bits of it. What did you think? Because it was the 70th minute it took for us to score.
But yeah, no, you know what? Wolves were a tough nut to crack. They really were, because this was their cup final. They didn't expect to get anything out of this.
No.
So they were going to give it as much as they could. And I tell you now, their goalkeeper is phenomenal. Their goalkeeper could play a few tiers up because she was outstanding. And it was only by a miscommunication between her defender and her that Dagny managed to toe poke it home in the 70th minute. You know, and then the own goal was Kate put too much power on a ball and the defender just turned it in instead of turning it out. Knew that they were going to give it everything. So we were using our full-time status to wear them down.
Zahra, did you get to see any of the match?
So I wasn't there, but I got to see some of the highlights. I totally agree with Ali. I mean, the keeper made some cracking saves. And I think Kira Flannery, although I didn't get to see the whole thing, I mean, she got player of the match and I think was so well deserved as well. I mean, she seemed like a very influential player, and her assist, that goal was so smooth. And that goal was smooth as butter. But yeah.
Strong central midfielder. I mean, I don't know if you remember, Ali, but right at the beginning of the season as well, Zahra, you went to one of them as well. We went to a lot of pre-seasons, so got to see Flannery for the first time as well. So, and not only, you know, she picked number 41 because she's a huge West Ham fan, and of course Declan Rice is 41. How long for? We don't know, but that's a different podcast altogether. And yeah, so just a proper hammer, actually, you know, and really fighting for everything, but. Definitely plays the West Ham way, for sure. Was she that exciting? Because I would love to have seen her for the full time she was on the pitch.
Yeah, no, she was, absolutely. I think Wolves didn't know what to do with her because she was very tricky for their midfield. She's, as we've always thought, she's very, you know, tough and does play the West Ham way of battling, going in for the tackles and things like that. So I don't think Wolves knew what to do with her. But the main thing is they didn't know what to do with Kate Longhurst, which was quite funny because Kate was playing much wider than she normally does. She was more on the wing than she normally does. And they went nowhere near her. And so time and time again, and if you get to see the highlights, you will see we are pinging the ball out to, you know, Izzy Atkinson when she was on that side. We were pinging the ball to Kate and the players so we could get these crosses in because they just only focused on our midfielders. They didn't seem to focus on either of our wingers.
Back to the WSL now. Obviously, we've got Arsenal coming up on this Sunday. We've lost the last two matches, I should say. And I know, like you weren't at the Man City match, was you, Ali? But they played really well and deserved a goal. But then, of course, you know, we lost to Everton 3-0, which I don't really kind of want to talk about, really.
Painful. That's all I'm going to say. It was painful. Do you know what? I'll give them the third goal. There is nothing Matt could have done about that. That was an absolute rocket from outside the box, you know. No keeper was going to touch that. But the first two goals was dodgy defending and dodgy goalkeeping. And they got us quick and they held on to it. Like, I can't argue we were dire against Everton. So I'm hoping the team that played Man City turns up and not the team that played Everton turns up.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? But look, it is what it was. Of course, Arsenal are on fire. They've lost just one match, haven't they, for the whole of this season as well, even though obviously they're not at the top of the league now. And we lost in October, I think it was 3-1, wasn't it? So Right.
Which could easily have been 2-2 though. Could
Yeah.
easily have been 2-2 because their goal shouldn't have been allowed and our first goal should have been.
Yeah.
So,
Zahra, is that your thoughts as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're definitely bridging the gap. I think it was a close game, that one.
Yeah. So do you fancy our chances now?
You know what? I think you guys were right when you said, let's hope the team that played City turn up, you know, as opposed to the team that played Everton. I think having a home advantage is quite good as well. I know they've lost Viv and Beth, two very like key players in their front line, but I mean they've got such they've got such depth in their squad with you know, Ford and Blackstenius and Hurtig and things. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one, but you know, they've just got to play the West Ham way, fighting spirit, and you know, just give everything that they have. And you know what, we'll see. It's going to be challenging, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Allie, what do you think is going to happen on Sunday?
I'm hoping that the turmoil within Arsenal is going to affect them for this game, because I don't know if anybody has seen, but obviously they made a massive bid for Russo that got rejected, but also it's being reported that Blackstenius was put as part of the deal. Now, can you imagine being Blackstenius coming in to training, being told you were going to be part of this deal, and actually, no, yeah, we do still have faith in you, but we were going to give you to Man United in order to get Leslie Russo. Plus, you've got the whole Kate McCabe drama of she was open to a move to Chelsea, didn't happen, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping all of that is playing some mind games in the dressing room. The thing is, we've got one thing this game that we were missing in the Arsenal game in October, and that is our number 23, Hawa. She was still on suspension when we played Arsenal, right, which was gutting. And I think that if we've got her leading our back line, if we get our new, which we'll come on to, Danish striker leading up with Viv, I think we've got a cracking chance. It's probably one of the best chances we've had in a while to beat Arsenal.
I think you're right there. I mean, I think everybody heard the whispers about what's going on. So you're thinking, oh, gee, is this actually true? Did it go on? It says, if you're Blackstenius, how are you going to come back from that straight away? You are just not going to do that. I actually thought the deal was going to go through last minute. I mean, Zahra, what do you think about all that? Do you think gives us more of a chance, right?
I mean, you never know. I mean, there's obviously lots of things that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And obviously, we don't know how that's going to affect everybody, you know, in their minds and, you know, the team dynamic as a whole. But those last 2 days of the transfer window were absolutely nuts. I mean, you know, I had fans of like, you know, people who'd never watched a women's game in their life coming to me and saying, did you hear about that huge bid for Russo? And blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, I'm impressed. Like, it was everywhere. So, you know.
Yeah, that's the one good thing, you know. I think that's really key, Zara, is that like with Russo, I think it's a huge thing, really, that it's better for the game ultimately. You know, people are now knowing when the deadline for the women's is as much as they are for the men. It's massive, right? So yeah, shame for Arsenal, but it was good for the club as a whole. Yeah. Right now, okay, talking of signings that actually happened, right? Amelie Thestrop, PSV on loan until the end of the season. 27-year-old, just what we need. And a striker from Denmark. Sounds like another sort of like head down, get on with the task kind of player. Zahra, let's start with you first this time.
I think everybody was kind of biting their nails thinking, you know, we signed a few defenders and, you know, very, you know, exciting prospects as to what they can do. But it's kind of like, oh, yeah, it's kind of a bit of an elephant in the room. Like, we need a striker. Is it going to happen? And it indeed did. I think the way that Conch spoke so highly of her, I think that was really interesting and, you know, quite positive. Let's hope that, you know, her and Viv can create a really like good strike partnership, and we'll see how that, you know, affects our, because I feel like goals have been a little bit scarce recently. We've been creating a lot of chances, but we haven't been able to get it in the back of the net. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm quite excited actually.
It really is. And I think a lot of that as well, actually, is to do with the fact that Viv's been offside quite a few times. But anyway, we skip through that. We still love Viv. Right. Al, do you want to say anything about Amelie?
I think what really stood, because I love reading their like coming to West Ham interviews, and I know a lot of it is guff because they can't, say. But one thing that really stood out for me is when she said that West Ham is a proper blue collar club, and for that, for me, it sounds like she knows that we graft and that she is willing to graft. And I've spoken to a couple of my international friends, and they rate her highly. She didn't do very well when she came over to the UK last, but I think it was a square peg round hole because she was in Liverpool, and it didn't quite fit. She didn't quite get the service that she was looking for. Whereas we've got Lisa and Smith on the wings that will ping balls in as much, and she's one of those players where she just needs someone to ping her a ball and she'll be away.
Totally.
So whereas Liverpool didn't really have those wingers as such, so I think that's why she struggled. But if you look at her for Denmark, if you look at her for previous clubs, she has got goals in her, and that's what excites me, because she is, as you said, an out and out striker.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's always, with a striker's concerned, when someone's 26 plus, I'm really happy with that. That's fine for a striker. I want someone with experience in different leagues and playing internationally, because if we look at the WSL, how many international players are playing for us now? So I think that's really in our favour. Right. Cracking signing for me. It was 22-year-old, played at every level as well. 19 and unders, actually, for the Lionesses. Been out in the States as well for 4 years. Decent defender, I think. Now, Allie, I'm going to go over to you, as you may have some insider knowledge, maybe, about Shannon. Do you?
Shannon Cook. I was so excited. Like, I don't know how to convey to you how excited I was. So she was over with the LSU Tigers for 4 years, and anybody that's been in that American system just has a different quality about them. We've seen it with Bronzy and Russo and all of those players, that you go into that American system, and her and Denton are quite similar in that fact. But Shannon Cook has been, if you've watched the under-19s, and if you haven't, you should, has been leading the back line, and she's got that potential. You know, you talk about Kira saying that she could be West Ham captain if we keep hold of her and nurture her.
Yeah.
Cook has got that same potential. She is a phenomenal talent that I don't think she's going to be starting straight away, because she's going to be playing in that role that Hawa does, and our Belgian that we got earlier, Amber, plays. But she's going to get cup games, she's going to get minutes, and you just watch her fly.
I think that's the thing with me. It was like, it's a brilliant signing, but where's she going to fit in? But obviously, if Hawa gets another couple of yellows, that'd be perfect, right, Zahra?
I don't think we want that, Joe.
Don't tell us.
But I kind of like it when she does get the yellows, because she's so passionate about the football. We know we love her for that, you know, and she's played 50 matches for us. I never want to ever let her go. Already she's my player of the season. It's gone. It's all finished already, done and dusted. There we go. But yeah, I mean, look, she's such an exciting one for us. And like you say, like, we've got still in the cup. So it's huge. I can't wait to see everybody play, including Amber as well, our Belgian international. Zahra, what did you think of her? I know Ali spoke of her on the last podcast. What do you think of her?
I only saw her a little bit at the Euros. Obviously, I don't think that was the best kind of, if you know what happened. I really hate to bring it up. But I've heard, you know, she's a really grafty centre-back, and I think that would pair really well with Hawa as well. So I really hope she can get back from her injury. Really unfortunate to hear, and it'll be really interesting to see how she fits in with the team. I'm really excited to see her play.
See, for me, all the players that Concha's got, you can tell he's a West Ham boy, ultimately, because that's the players that he's going for. And that's why, you know, we're all really excited. And if we get a few yellow cards, do you know, I don't care, because we're playing the way we want to play. I suppose it's not too dirty, obviously, but, you know, we're not like that. We just get a little bit too passionate.
Can we just talk about Hawa for 2 seconds? Can we talk about Hawa? So she got her 50th appearance.
Al, can I just say, You can talk about Hawa for 50 minutes if you wish. You know we love her. You know, yeah, go on.
So just because it summed her up and it made me love her even more, and I didn't think that was possible. So she got her 50th cap for us at the Wolves game. And they do her interview, right? And she goes, "Yeah, I've been waiting for it. Of course, it should have happened a while ago, but there's been a couple of injuries." And then she looks dead in the camera and goes, "And cards." And then carried on. And I was like, yes, Hawa, I love you.
Says it totally as it is. And, regarding that red card incident, I am still fuming regarding that, to be fair.
Revenge in the colour.
Let's get down to what we think is going to happen with Arsenal. Who are we going to look out for? Zahra.
I think Katie McCabe's always one to look out for. I mean, she's a tough Irish woman. She, very tough, very tricky, and I think she's always a hard one. I've always liked watching Caitlin Ford play as well. I think she's really, really good up front. And it'll be really interesting because I know they had a really big win against Leeds United in the FA Cup. Some of their new signings, Palova and Krul as well.
Yeah.
They played really well, so it'll be really interesting to see how they do as well.
Al?
My favourite thing whenever we play Arsenal is the same thing each and every time, which is Kate McCabe versus Kate Longhurst. Because something will happen. You can guarantee it.
I'm muting myself. Hang on, I'm muting myself. Carry on.
Because last time, Kate Longhurst literally pushed Kate McCabe over. And and Kate McCabe just fell over. It was hilarious. But in terms of actual play, I think you've got to look at the stalwarts. You've got to look at Kim Little. You've got to look at Caitlin Ford. You've got to look at players like that have, been the backbone of Arsenal for so long. I would love to see Jenny Beats get a run out because I don't think she gets as much time on the back line as she should. But Kim Little is always dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to be careful with.
Always has been a danger, but I would also just like to, because I think what happens is we talk about Hawa and others and Kate. Dagny to me doesn't get, and she's been the skipper this season. I mean, obviously, I was going to say Kira Flannery. Then I'm thinking of the future rather than the past. But obviously, Gilly as well, since we was in the WSL, had been skipper for a long time, and that's a big job to take on. Really, it's big boots to fill. And I think she's done really well. I'll be honest, the first sort of 4 or 5 games, I was like, I'm not quite sure about this, but I think she's doing really well. And the position where she is up front, with the ball on her head, has been outstanding. And I've been watching her as well by trying to help direct other players as well, because there's a lot of new players in that team. And I don't think she gets enough credit that she deserves. Al, but what do you think? You're a Dagny fan?
Yes. As a captain, I think she's been fantastic. I genuinely do. She's got a level head on her shoulders, which we need for a team that's very full on and things like that. So I think she was a great choice as captain because she's a great leveler. My only slight criticism of Dagny is she doesn't tackle.
No,
that's
she
the
can't.
only thing I want. She just can't tackle. That's the only thing I want, because if she's in that midfield, which is why I like when we play Mel and when we play Abby, you can push her forward, you can push her up, and then you're again pinging balls from the wing and thing. But it's one of my only critiques is she'll be in the middle of the field and she just will not tackle, and I'm like, what are you doing? You can't just stare at them.
But then that's down to Conch as well, right, though, Zahra? I mean, because then it's to say, look, let's utilise our players to the best ability, right? So it's, for me, I think you're right, Allie. I think everybody will feel the same regarding that issue with, and I will call it an issue because it is if you've got someone in midfield and they're not willing to tackle. So, I think it could be down to Conch. Sorry, Zahra, go on.
I don't know if this is controversial, but I do prefer slightly forward from midfield because I think people pinging in balls to her, that's where she's the most effective, because yes, the head of Dagny, the mighty head of Dagny, and I think she's been scoring so many goals, but she's been kind of there receiving the ball, so I do prefer her slightly forward from midfield.
I think you're right, Zara. And I think because she reads the game really well, and that's what you want with a skipper. And I think she's like obviously starting to direct people as well a little bit better. I think, I think it's just really working out well for her at the moment. But as we all admit, all agree then that, we'd like her fully forward rather than being in the midfield where she won't tackle. Yes, we've said it. We've put it out there. We've got to be honest here. Yeah. But, having Dagny, yes, I'm 100% so happy that she's a skipper. And I can absolutely 100% see why Conch chose her now. And I think it was a few of us were thinking why at the beginning of the season. Yeah. But Ali, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Do you know what I was going to say? Because it feels like sometimes when I watch us play, it feels like we've got two captains. It feels like Dagny's been put in charge of the midfield and the forwards and working on that angle. And then Maka is on the back and is dealing with the defenders, because one of the greatest things, and she's really coming to own specifically this season, Maka, is she's a vocal goalkeeper. Like, you don't ever hear her shut up. She's constant, because she's got that view of the whole pitch. She doesn't shut up in the best possible way. She is constantly, especially calling out the newer players. So like we've got Risa on number 3, and like she will always be like, right, man on, Risa over there, look out for Kate, look out for, and stuff like that. And she doesn't shut up. And so it does feel like we've got those two vocal captains, both very calm, very level-headed players, taking care of half the team each, which I think has worked out really quite well in our favour.
Because obviously, I'm going back to Hawa, but Hawa's been the captain a couple of times, right, Zara? What do you think with... I thought she didn't perform as well, if I'll be honest, as a captain. Zara, what do you reckon?
I love a Captain Hawa. I think, it's... I may be a bit biased, but I do love a Captain Hawa. I think she has where she can, tell people what to do. And because, she's had some experience, in different leagues. So I think that really helps with that. But yeah, no, I think it's really interesting getting to see different people getting that leadership role, especially, Hawa and let's just say cup games. So yeah, no, I'm a fan of Captain Hawa.
Ali, Captain Hawa? I kind of like that though, that Captain Hawa. It's
got a ring to it.
Yeah, it has, isn't it?
I've only seen her do 2 games. I will say that Brighton in the Conti was shambolic. I don't think she played well at all as captain. I think it sort of messed with her game plan and stuff like that, because you can't be as aggressive when you're the captain, because who's the ref going to call over at your number 23 if your number 23 is your captain? She was better at Wolves. She was much more composed, much better at Wolves, was still giving the good tackles, was still getting in as she should. So Wolves, I thought she was better. So maybe it's an experience thing. Maybe it's just something she'll need to grow into if she's going to be the captain for, cup games, if Dagny's not starting and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely a tale of two halves for Captain Hawa.
I hear it. It takes time. It probably takes time. So no, I get it.
I know. Well, she can do no wrong, can she? Let's be honest. Yes. Just going to go now to the score on, because it's quite a long one. So we're going to go to the scores for Sunday. And it's the best thing about hosting anything is that you can always come in last. So, Ali, you first.
Ever the optimist. The cheeky 2-1 win to West Ham.
Zara.
I'm going to say 2 or 3-1. I don't know to who, but I'm hoping it's us.
Nice hedging.
It could go either way, because I don't think we should shy away from the fact that it's gonna be a tough one regardless. But yeah, I'm saying a 2-1 or 3-1.
Yeah, I think you're right. The thing is, it's not like 3 seasons ago when we're thinking, 6-7-0. Do you know what I mean? So I remember that. I remember that day. So yeah, I think we're always in with a chance, right? And that's it. We've had to get through quite a bit, really. Thank goodness we didn't leave this one for 2 weeks. Otherwise, it'd have been an hour episode, I reckon. But also, I just want to shout, if you want to go to the WSB, West Ham United Women's Supporters Board, West Ham United, WHU, WSB on Twitter. Now, we're asking people to put down what they would like on the playlist where the supporters areas are. That's where you pick up your programs and stuff like that. So you could have the song, obviously it's got to be clean, right, that you want played. So have a look on the women's supporters board thing as well. And just a quick one, if you are ever booking any tickets to come and see West Ham and you're a away fan, make sure that you go in the SD Samuels stand. That's the biggest one right at the back, because that's where all the away fans seem to congregate, so that you're all kind of together rather than just being scattered around. That's the place to kind of head, because I know all the tickets have been released for future games already, and some people are buying in areas that I don't think they'll enjoy as much if they're away from the other away fans. So it's just a little heads up. That's enough from me. Allie, Zahra, do you want to add anything else?
If we're talking about it, I'm just going to give a shout out. If you are an away West Ham fan, come find me. I'm normally at pretty much every away game that I can get to. Come give us a shout. We'll start looking at group bookings, things like that, so we're all sat together. One thing was nice about Wolves away is we've got a dedicated away end, so all of the Ammers were together and we made a lot of noise. So if you're an away West Ham fan, hit me up on Axel's Girl on Twitter. It's the same on Instagram, really. Never grew out of me 80s hair metal phase, and we'll organise some stuff.
80s hair metal. That's a perfect way to finish off a West Ham United podcast, right, Zahra?
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cracking game no matter what. We always love a derby. And come along and enjoy the match day. There's a bar there as well before you go in if you want to come into the bar. But just come along Sunday evening, 6:45. Don't miss it. It's going to be fun. Come and say hi to us if you want to. Understandable if you don't want to with me, but come and say hello to Zahra anyway. And Allie, I'm afraid you're not going to be there, but we will miss you. I know you'll be watching. Well, you'll be watching on the box though, won't you? So
I will be watching on the box, and I'll be back in Dagny for the FA Cup.
Excellent. Right. We will be seeing you then, and this time next week. Thanks ever so much for looking in again. If you've got any comments, just throw us some. You know how to like and subscribe. I'm going to stop talking now. Zahra, Allie, thanks for joining us all today. And we'll see you next time, right? Come on, you wines. Wines. Oh, how was the soccer? Oh, how was the soccer?